Thank you for joining our Dual Language Designation webinar. This webinar is recorded in English, Spanish, and Somali. Our Dual Language Designation Planning team includes myself, Athena Jimenez Manalo, Dual Language and Multilingual Learning Manager, Yolanda Arellano, Dual Language Coordinator, and Charlotte Campbell, QRIS Government and Partnerships Liaison. In today's webinar, we will begin by defining what we mean when we talk about dual language learning. We will then look at the new dual language designation that is part of Early Achievers. Dual language learning is an approach where children learn literacy, culture, and content in two languages, typically English and a partner language spoken in the community. In dual language environments, at least 50% of the instruction and communication with children occurs in the non-English partner language. Dual language education is the only language model that fully closes academic and opportunity gaps for multilingual English learners and other historically underserved groups. Some of the benefits of dual language include cognitive benefits, such as improved attention, focus, and memory. Multilingual learners also experience mental flexibility and can switch between tasks and languages with ease. In the long term, multilingualism may delay the onset of age-related cognitive illnesses such as Alzheimer's disease. Academically, dual language learners have increased graduation and academic success rates, higher levels of abstract thought, creativity, and reasoning, and comparable or higher academic achievement than their monolingual peers or peers who are in traditional ESL classes. Dual language and multilingual learners have increased earning potential and are increasingly sought after in many job markets. And when we say sociocultural, we refer to social and cultural skills and norms. Bilingualism and multilingualism increase global awareness, help develop empathy, improve self-esteem, and promote stronger cross-cultural connections as well as connections to family heritage. Supporting dual language learning is not new to DCYF. Since 2017, DCYF has provided training and professional development resources to support the early learning workforce. The passage of the Fair Start for Kids Act allowed DCYF to expand on this work by developing standards and a designation for dual language. We wanted to create a system that is reflective and inclusive of Washington's communities. We know that families want to see themselves, their language, and their culture extended into the early learning system. Last year, we administered a survey to families and received some great insight into why they value dual language and home language preservation. There is a lot on this slide, and that's intentional. We acknowledge that we did not do this work alone. The designation came together as a collaborative process. Fair Start for Kids opened the door for DCYF to work with community and providers to design the dual language designation. We started our work in December 2021 with an advisory group of folks from across the state with different language and geographic backgrounds. We worked with providers, coaches, partners, and tribal nations and had many great conversations about how we support and serve multilingual children and families and the adults who work with them. Together, we put together a vision of dual language in early learning for our state. Some of the work that came from these collaborations include the development of dual language standards, obtaining community and family voice, developing parameters for the designation, and supports, training, and system building. A huge thank you to all the organizations listed here. We worked hard to co-design the process and ensure it was a community-driven effort. Our advisory group put together the dual language program standards for early care and education. The purpose of the dual language standards is to offer a comprehensive and research-supported framework of best practices to recognize, promote, and enhance dual language learning in early care and education. These standards were written to reflect the best practices already happening in the field and align with the existing standards, best practices, competencies, and other early learning frameworks. The standards and best practices are intended for providers, coaches, teachers, and program leaders. They can be used to incorporate practices that support dual language learners in school readiness and provide a responsive and inclusive learning environment. Program leaders can use this document to guide preliminary thinking and planning, support ongoing program implementation, and monitor program effectiveness. As a framework, these standards reflect what it looks like to support linguistic diversity and the preservation of home languages. Programs meeting the dual language standards may earn a dual language designation. A dual language designation is an acknowledgement of best practices that meet the needs of multilingual children and families. Fair Start for Kids Act directed DCYF to develop a dual language designation. The designation is part of the Early Achievers Quality Recognition process. Programs and providers will be able to request a dual language designation in CC later this spring. To earn a designation, programs must participate in Early Achievers, serve and enroll multilingual children, and have at least one bilingual staff using the established program languages or be a tribal language revitalization program. The dual language designation is intended to acknowledge programs already doing this work. When the designation becomes available, providers will work with coaches to opt into the designation in CC. The dual language designation aligns with DCYF's statewide Early Learning Coordination Plan and Washington's vision for dual language for all. Programs that receive a dual language designation may display it on their Early Achievers Quality Recognition Certificate, on their Early Achievers tab in Merit, in CC, and in the future in Childcare Check. This is great for marketing. Providers who opt into the designation and meet specific eligibility criteria may receive a funding award. Funding awards will be annual while funding from the legislature permits. The awards will be per classroom or learning environment. A site or facility may receive awards for up to 10 classrooms or learning environments. This means that centers or family homes with multiple classrooms or learning environments providing dual language can receive an award for each of their learning environments up to 10 learning environments. Dual language classrooms will receive a $2,700 award per classroom, and tribal programs or classrooms will receive $4,100 per classroom or learning environment. Tribal programs have been allocated higher award amounts. After collaborating with tribal nations and partners, we acknowledge that tribal programs have to spend extra time and money on instructional resources and materials to support language development and revitalization. Awards will also be prioritized. Tribal language programs are the top priority for receiving funding awards, as well as programs meeting 3 or more prioritization factors. I will talk about prioritization factors on the next slide. Tribal programs are prioritized because all tribal languages are endangered, especially after COVID. Second priority will be programs meeting 2 prioritization factors, and third priority will be programs receiving with 1 prioritization factor. Funding awards may be used for wages for bilingual staff, training and professional development, culturally relevant instructional materials and curricula, or other related expenses. Designation funding will be prioritized based on these prioritization factors located on our early learning dashboard. This dashboard is updated regularly by our Office of Innovation, Alignment, and Accountability. We have some resources for you to learn more and stay engaged with our work. Our dual language webpage has our most up-to-date information. You can find our dual language standards, designation overview, FAQs, and more on our webpage. There are also professional development opportunities available to you, and you can access them or get more information about them from our webpage. For additional questions and support, you can reach out to the DCYF Merit inbox and the dual language team. We are also preparing a toolkit for coaches to support providers opting into and working toward the designation. So once that is ready and the designation is available in CC, your coach will also be available to answer questions. Thank you so much for listening to this recording. I hope you learned a lot. We're very excited for the future of dual language in Washington State for early care and education.